The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program, and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Hello, welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it's the Monday after the silly season, Christmas. And it's just when we thought it couldn't get any sillier, it did.
Yes, it did. Happy Good Riddance Day.
Good Riddance Day. CJ has just informed me that the state has created...
Well, actually, I'm saying that the state delegation probably propagated this. Good Riddance Day was, I guess, part of a national endeavor to get rid of negativity. All I could picture was Carol Fiola leading the charge.
Yeah.
It made the national news, and I thought that was funny. But,
Yeah.
you know, it's amazing some of the stuff people are looking at. And if you want to send good wishes for 2016, you can go to timesquarenyc.com, and you can post them, and they'll print them out and put them up at Times Square when the ball drops. I don't know whose head they're going to drop it on, but...
Well, just when you thought that politicians couldn't get any more inane, which means totally, useless, and be doing absolutely nothing, they come up with something like this because that's what they're really great at. They're great at creating labels to get the public to not look at reality. Negativity day. Anytime you say what they're doing is wrong, you're being negative. So let's everybody be positive, and we want everybody to agree with everything they do. Like, let's all rejoice and not be negative that we have the highest drug costs in the world, even though we produce all the drugs basically, and yet we pay, sometimes as much as 4 times more. You can go to Cuba and buy a drug for about 1/10 of what you can buy it in the United States. And,
Oh, I know.
And but that's let's be positive about that. Yay, drug companies! Yay the drug thug. Everybody should be able to get a drug that used to cost $13 and jack the price up, 900,000%, and just let people die. It's a wonderful thing. This is what they do. And then they come up with other statements. It's like negativity. No, it's not negativity. You talk about, the optimist sees the glass half full, the pessimist sees the glass half empty. How about being a pragmatist and say there's a glass of water and there's water in it?
There you go.
Let's just look at reality. It doesn't matter whether it's half full or half empty. These are all diversions to make you think about the fact that you didn't get a full glass of water. Whether you look at it as half full or half empty is irrelevant. What's relevant is there's only a half a glass of water. So let's just look at it. And when you do business, and let's face it, the government is a business. It's a non-profit business, at least it's supposed to be non-profit. Businessmen aren't optimists and negative. When somebody that's running a company finds that his company is losing money and he has to go in and take a hard look at cutting costs, do you think his stockholders say, "Oh, you're being negative"? No, you're being a leader. You have to look at the company and say, what fat can we cut? What can we do to consolidate? What can we do to lower costs and increase profits? That's what people who run real businesses do. And the government is a self-perpetuating, money-eating machine, and it's our money they're eating. And they perpetuate that in their own empire, which it is an empire when you think about it. Our state reps are the princes and princesses, and the governor is the king. And on the federal level, our Congress are the nobility class, and don't ever think they're not. They have their own rules that they live by. That a state rep can drive in the high occupancy vehicle lane by himself because he's got state plates. You know, they don't have to deal with speed limits, and nobody gets a ticket if you're a state official. So yeah, you know, they're just like us. Sure they are, but they come up with stuff like this, and then to add insult to injury, to throw salt into the wound. Kenny Fiola, I've been told, made a statement. CJ, what was that statement?
Unemployment is irrelevant.
Unemployment is irrelevant. Now, there's a real positive statement. Because if you make unemployment not a factor, how positive is that? Who gives a damn how many people have got tin cups and they're standing out on a street corner? What property owner doesn't care that the people living in his house don't have a job and they're not paying their rent? What business owner doesn't care that the people who live in the city where his business is are unemployed and can't buy anything, and he's going to go out of business? Unemployment is irrelevant. No, of course it's irrelevant, because I was told that business is booming up in the industrial park. Yeah, it's booming for Matuk. He's selling his $500 towels to the yuppies in New York up on Long Island. And he's paying crap wages in Fall River and getting every kind of break he can.
He doesn't pay taxes.
Doesn't pay taxes, plus he gets anything he wants. I mean, you know, they'd move the water tower for him. Well, I think they might have done that.
Yes, they did.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's probably why I remembered it. But the fact is that, you know, this is what we've got. And, you know, let's start out the new year by everyone saying, listen, when you run into a state rep or a politician, tell them, listen, stop with the BS. The reason that Donald Trump is so popular right now is people are sick and tired of your BS. We're not believing in it anymore, and we're going to pay attention to what you do. And hopefully at some point in time, what we did with the mayor will trickle down to the city council and the school committee, and we'll start watching what they do.
Well, you know, Chip, you're on something here that's very, very important. I don't know how many of our viewers actually watched the 10 news conference this week. And I had to watch it and rewatch it because our new mayor-elect is mayor same old, in my opinion. Well, the reason why I reappointed or kept Joe Macy, you'll have to wait and see. Give me 2 years, and we can look back and we can say what we did right and what we did wrong. You know, this is all the same bull that we've heard for how many decades? Not years, decades, okay? And the people are tired of it. So if this is what we're going to enter into 2016 with, next Monday, a week today, we're going to enter into this type of wait-and-see attitude. We don't have 2 years. We don't have 2 hours to wait and see. You know, Mayor-elect Correa, if you want to make a clear statement to the voters and to the people of Fall River that you truly do care about Fall River and its people, immediately cut the fat. And Mr. Mayor-elect, start in your own office. Okay? You were totally against the special assistant to the mayor, but you were the first one to appoint one after Sam Sutter. So what is the nature of this job? Why do you need it? That's fat. That's fat. Okay? And the people don't want the fat. All right? Fall River can't afford it. And I said it in my column this weekend. Mr. Mayor, Sam Sutter, if you've got a set on you and you got the backbone, maybe the final gift you should give Fall River is the relief it needs. Maybe you should declare receivership and put that in the governor's pocket. Because you know what? That's what Fall River truly needs. Because this new incoming mayor isn't going to do what you didn't do, Mr. Mayor. He's not going to order a forensic audit on every department, every book, every account in this city, which is what we truly need. But it's not going to happen. Because no politician wants to see what they've done looked at, and looked at closely. Alan Silver said it very clearly. The only out for Fall River is receivership. Sam Sutter, you turned around and sent them back to Florida. That was sound financial advice from a man who knows numbers. Okay? And maybe people are saying, oh, we can't do that. Receivership is the great reset button. Maybe it's time somebody take the bull by the horns and do this.
Well, we've got a new year coming. Next week we'll be having our first show of the new year, a week today.
And we'll be immediately following the inauguration.
And we'll be following the inauguration, and already we've got, issues. And as I said, I'm going to give the mayor-elect every opportunity to do the right thing. But the indicators are not good. Talked about the lack of transparency in the Sutter administration, the lack of transparency in the Flanagan administration. We all know that. But yet we get it during his press conference or interview or whatever you want to term it. He talks about, what is this, the secret Santa? Wait and see why I kept Macy. Well, I'm going to wait and I'm going to see. But I don't know what reason, and I may be surprised. And if I'm surprised and I think it's a valid reason, I will say, okay, you got me. That was a great idea. But I don't really believe there's any justification to hire a man that can only work 960 hours a year and pay him $92,000. We have a lot of people who live in this city who are attorneys who could use a job and work full-time for that money. And I don't want to hear the stuff about, well, he can volunteer the rest of his time and he can't. Nobody will push the issue probably because he is a judge and these people are politically connected. But the reality is the retirement boards will they may do an investigation, but they're not going to kick it up to PERAC, because I saw the PERAC opinion that said these people cannot work and say they're volunteering their time. After they work 960 hours, their job is over. They can no longer be employed, and they can't go back as a volunteer and pretend. That's the PERAC interpretation, and they're willing to fight that in court if it gets to them. The problem is, again, the politicians will then tilt the playing field in favor of themselves. But I don't know what reason you could have in keeping the city administrator that was under tremendous fire, and I forgot the quote in the Dion article. It's got more baggage than, I don't know, but whatever. But the fact is, and Joe Macy, which was another major campaign issue, and the first thing you do is keep these two positions. And we're going to find out about it later. Well, you know what I want to find out about? I want to find out about when there's reductions in administrative and management personnel throughout all city departments. I want to know when. Because somewhere over the last decade or so, the mantra of cut the fat in government, the politicians have succeeded in eliminating that from the public's vocabulary. Years ago, it was political suicide to raise taxes 2 years in a row. It was political suicide to hire all these people and give them these types of jobs. And what do they do today? They march into the city council, and I still remember Lou Pacheco saying how our financial team deserved more money.
Well, how about this one, Chip? Just got a message from people at City Hall. They don't watch us, though. Remember this, okay? Who's paying for the interior decorator hired to spruce up the mayor's office?
Spruce it up. Did they just spend like a $500,000 on
Well,
a shower?
hey, we've gone through this Taj Mahal thing before, and remember, it's from the boy emperor now. Okay, the boy emperor who worked in and spoke the acceptance speech just about for the previous mayor who got kicked out. So now we have an interior decorator sprucing up the 6th floor.
Thanks for the tips, Anonymous. But, but this is the problem. We see.
But where's the money?
Well, the money goes to the administrators. I mean, like, as I said, DPW has less men than it's ever had, I think. Yet they created 2 supervisory positions in DPW over the last 3 years. You look at the city hall, we have fewer and fewer people doing the work, servicing the people.
But more managers.
The people who pay the taxes. We have fewer and fewer people. They've given them more and more work. Not a lot of money, because they have a hell of a time getting a little pay raise. But now they give their administrators and supervisors, and we have new position upon new position. Every administration that comes in comes up with a new euphemistic title for a political bullshit job. And that's the reality of what we've got. And like I said, somewhere over the line, in the last decade or two, we've completely eliminated that from our vocabulary. We have to put it back in. I remember when Carlton Viveros was the mayor and he reorganized the entire city. He hired the Coopers and Libran study to study every single department and recommend consolidations and cuts in every department. And he implemented many of those. Why? Because in those days, most of the people who have left the city now, because of what's going on, would never vote these people back into office if they did stuff like this. And we have to do this again, people. We're giving, obviously we're going to give the mayor a tremendous amount of scrutiny. He made a lot of promises, and hopefully we're going to hold them to them. But, we're getting pretty good at dumping mayors. I mean, hey, look, I think we lead the country. And, people talk about Fall River, but Fall River's a leader in political change when it comes to the mayoral level. I mean, let's look at how many mayors we've had in the past 3 years. And we could conceivably have a new mayor in 2 years. Who knows? But what we have to realize is, we can't, they con us all the time. So don't be negative. Look, like I said, be a realist. It is what it is. But what we have to do is carry that same standard down to the city council and to the school committee. When we created the recall and we pushed the recall, the biggest part of the recall was the information that was provided to the public about the performance of Will Flanagan. And it got people who were not part of the recall, who didn't sign a petition, who were afraid to sign a petition, or just didn't get out where there was a petition, and they went out to vote, and they got rid of the mayor. And we had one of the people in the organization put together a really great document called Flanagan Shenanigans. And it listed all the follies of Flanagan. But what we have to do is, and that got people thinking, hey, yeah, you're right, this guy did said the stormwater was illegal, but he kept it. This guy did do this. And then the purple bags were the straw that broke the camel's back. Well, we have to do the same thing with the city council. We have to begin to look at each councilor and their performance throughout their term. Every vote that they do. Because we have to realize we cannot continue to allow people to represent us on any level, not only the mayor, because they say the mayor's the most powerful, but the bottom line is, look, the city council's the one that approves these budgets with all these jobs in them, and we've CJ and I and a whole bunch of people have gone before the city council during budget times and said, this budget is full of fat. There's no positions that are basically eliminated. And what did they eliminate a few years ago, 2 or 3 fiscal years ago? 4 city-funded firefighters. And then they complained about having no firefighters. Well, they eliminated them, but they didn't eliminate one fire officer. They didn't eliminate any supervisors from any department. Yet we lose people who provide service. And this is the con that they run on us. And the city council then says, oh, there's nothing we can do. Well, you don't have to vote for the budget. And we have to look at everybody's record. I mean, Linda Pereira's been in there forever. And if you look at her record, it's not much better than some of the councilors that were thrown out. But she's got a personality, people like her, and fine. I like Linda. I think she's, I think she's personable. I don't have anything personally against her. However, like the mayor, and like everybody, and like you are out there when you're at your job, if you make widgets and you're supposed to make 60 widgets an hour, and you're only putting out 4 widgets an hour because you're not doing your job, your boss isn't going to keep you for a while. The fact is, these are jobs, and they take them voluntarily to be our representatives and to run this city in the best interest of the people, not in their best interests, but in our best interests. And we've got to go from top to bottom, not just the mayor. Yeah, okay, look, we're great. I think we're the best in the world. We finally made #1 in a good category, kicking out politicians when it comes to mayor. And then to say that we're not going to look at the council, this is what we have to do, and we're going to be keeping an eye on them. CAG is going to be looking at these people and talking a lot about their performance, because we can't allow this BS to continue. We can't allow the state to release the fact that Fall River has the lowest household income level in the state of Massachusetts. We're 351st out of 351 cities and towns. And then right after that's released, we've got Rob Mellion coming in and saying, oh, you got to reduce the taxes on business and increase the taxes on the poorest city in the world, on the residents, to keep businesses in business. Bullshit. You got to give those people money in order to keep it. Like Milton Friedman said, all taxes are regressive. You got Mellion traipsing up there like the Messiah and preaching absolute crap. And then we got Ken Fiola from the Office of Economic Destruction saying that employment is irrelevant. Really? Really? It's irrelevant that the people don't have any money, they don't have jobs, that live in this city, and you're the first guy to go, we got to pay more taxes. With what? This is the problem, people. They're full of crap. They are full of crap, and I didn't know he stacked it that high. And as I always said, if BS was bricks, our politicians could build a chimney to the moon and have bricks left over.
Well, amazing that we talk about bricks.
Oh, bricks.
Yeah, because they decided that the chimney at the King Philip Mill can stand up. And they're going to use $70,000 of CPA money. Hey, where's that money come from? You, the taxpayer, to decide whether or not the building can stay up. Nobody wants the building up. How come when the people say we don't want it, we're going to get it anyways? Seems like they just keep shoving it right up there. They don't care.
They don't.
And they don't even kiss you before they do it.
Yeah,
so I guess after the first of the year, our newest award, the Spindle City Iconoclast Trophies, will be awarded.
Honorary. Spindle City honorary.
Honorary Iconoclast Trophies. That's right. Excuse me. I forgot that. So it's going to be very interesting to see who's going to qualify for that award and how many people are going to know what the Spindle City Honorary Iconoclast Trophy means.
And we're working on the categories. We're going to have multiple categories. So we are going to work on it. There will be more than one, and you can all check the acronym. And we're going to have a nickname for it when we present it. But the fact is that, listen, here's another case. People in the South End, send out the call. I don't live in the South End, but I'll go down there and walk around and picket, because you know something, as you said, this is disgraceful. The people in the South End do not want that building up, and yet the politicians are going to spend $70,000. They won't put it into a building that's helping the community, and the CPA goes to the people where that they want. You know, the money for the air conditioner that in a building
that they don't even own.
That they don't own, but the person who runs that program is also the spouse of a politically connected person. And most of that money goes to the North End, which is the most affluent end of the city. This is why I will do everything I can to get the CPA removed, because you know something? I don't want to pay taxes for them to build chimneys or do a $70,000 study. I want my tax money to go to provide me with police, fire, education, and people to service me when I walk into City Hall. I want the working people, instead of having this inverted pyramid that we have with 1 million chiefs and no Indians left, let's flip it around and have a couple. You know, when Carlton Viveris was the mayor, we had a 300-man fire department, a nearly 300-man police department. Every department was much larger, and all he had was a secretary. How did he do it? We had more people, you know, to deal with in every department. Yet every department head now has more supervisory help, bigger salaries, and we have more problems. You know why? They're not doing their job.
Exactly.
It's time to hold them accountable.
Exactly. And, you know, speaking of Mayor Viveris, my condolences, and I'm sure yours as well, go out to Mayor Viveris at the loss of his wife. We broke that alert yesterday prior to getting confirmations, and I received 2 confirmations last night. I am awaiting the arrangements for his wife, and you know, again, you know, this time of year to have a loss is tough.
He has my sincere condolences also. My father passed away right after New Year's, and he was the mayor at the time, and he came to the wake, and I really appreciated that even though we had some battles over contracts and stuff like that, but we always managed to get along, to disagree without being disagreeable for the most part. And you know, it's a terrible loss, and at this time of the year, it exacerbates that issue. And you know, my sincere condolences go out to him and his family.
Yeah, it's tough this time of year. But real quickly, but you know, we're coming down to the last couple of minutes of the show. Christmas. Everyone complained about a Dunkin' Donuts not being open, a Dunkin' Donuts being open. Hey, I want you to remember something. Okay? Those people had families too. So if the Dunkin' Donuts was closed, kudos to that franchise holder. To the franchise holders who opened, shame on you. Okay? I don't care if you're Christian or not. I don't care if you're Jewish, Buddhist, you know, Lutheran. The bottom line is, you remember that cup of coffee that you so desperately had to have that you couldn't make one, because when your employer turns around and says, you need to go to work on Christmas, and you can't be there for your children when they open their gifts, or for your grandchildren when they open their gifts because you have to work, tough luck. Your coffee was that important. And that's the way I look at it, because, you know, Chip, you and I have both had to work holidays. We've worked Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year. So we know what it's like. Get angry for the right reasons. Remember that.
Stay angry, and we will see you on Wednesday.
We definitely will. And remember, we're going to be there on inaugural day so that you know what's going on here in Fall River. And we'll see where we're going to go after that. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.